Lots of great altcoin setups for you today, from high risk, high reward low caps to more assured plays from some of the more established cryptos. And if you hang around until the end, I promise to take a look at Trump's World Liberty Financial Token, which is also providing us with a great opportunity to trade. So stay right there. Hi, this is Paul with ArcisFX with your top altcoin picks for the week. First up, we have Egan USDT. This is 4-hour chart. Now, we've had a solid breakout of this previous resistance range, and the price action is currently just trying to find its feet at support. So now I'm in this trade. Now, the issue is, of course, Bitcoin is doing a little bit of whipsaw action at the moment, which is making it very difficult for Egan to make its promised move. But you'll notice that if we zoom in very carefully, you can see that we do have higher highs and higher lows still with the price action, with all the moving averages offering plenty of support. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin dips from here, this potentially could push Egan into invalidation, but currently we're in a solid uptrend. This is just a good buying opportunity, and potentially if you come in here and we do get a move up from Bitcoin, that would be a nice solid 24% spot, and add a little bit of leverage on that, and you've got a nice play. That's my play. I'm in that at the moment, and hopefully Bitcoin will play along. Next up is Tree. We were talking about this at the start of the week in Bitcoin Update. If you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do, as you need, of course, to be paying attention to what Bitcoin is doing in order to trade these setups successfully. Now, at the time, Tree was sitting at all-time lows in this support zone, but as I did say, if Bitcoin does struggle to make upwards movement over the next couple of days, we are going to have a little bit of a pullback, and now we've entered negative price discovery. So this definitely isn't a hard buy right now. What you need to see, of course, is a bullish confirmation of a recovery, and then look to enter at the lowest possible prices. Now, this is a low cap, so this is very high risk, but as you can see, low caps come with a lot of potential. And if you do manage to get in at these lower price points, which is around 0.27 to 0.28, when Bitcoin does go, Tree will take off potentially and give you some amazing gains. But this is high risk, so we're talking about low positions here. And the most important thing to remember is right now, because we've entered negative price discovery just very slightly, some people will be looking to buy this dip. We have some of the oscillators oversold, but for me, my play will be wait for a recovery into this zone and then looking to come back down here as low as possible. This is the play with these low caps, come in as low as possible around support, and then even if it does go the other way, you still have plenty of options to get out. So for Tree, I'll be looking for a confirmation move first before entering, as we have come a little bit further down below support. But once we do see that and we get a little bit more confirmation from Bitcoin, this might be an excellent play. So of course, before you enter this, you need to see some more bullish confirmation. That would be from Bitcoin. But if you're coming in here, that's extremely high risk, because if Bitcoin does come down a little bit further, which it could do, because it's still got a little bit of room to come down on higher time frames on the primary trend, you could see Tree just come down here, which would be a little bit awkward once you've entered it. So wait for bullish confirmation. This is, as I said, this is a low cap, so this is high risk, smaller positions, but just wait for a little bit of a move back into this range. Look to come in as low as you can, and then hopefully we'll get a nice move upwards from there. Next up, this is THETA. Now, we've been talking about THETA for a while. It's squeezed below this 200 MA on the daily chart. Now, the 200 MA on the daily chart has significance, and we have tried to put our head above the parapet, so to speak, to make an upwards move. We have a pretty solid base at 0.7 and then a floor at around 0.56. So a couple of options to enter if we do have more of a bearish scenario from Bitcoin over the next few days. But if you do see a break above the 200 MA, then you've got something to trade. But honestly, right now, with this sort of compression going on with the price action, probably the same sort of approach we were just talking about with Tree. Try and come in as low as you possibly can, like kind of with this area. And then, of course, you just wait for THETA to move. So this would be more of a mid-term hold kind of approach. But there's plenty of options to trade. There is, if we zoom in, you can see there is a nice little trading range, which the price action has been playing in. And we are at the bottom of it right now. You can see an order block just below. You could just trade this range for sure in between these two order blocks. But ultimately, with altcoins, we are moving into a more mid-term spot hold territory in terms of the potential for altcoins. So this might just be an opportunity to load up on your bag down here. But that's THETA. This is SUI, USD. We have major support down here, but we have nice confluence on the daily chart with this 200 MA. Now the 50 is causing a bit of problems. We have a bit of a squeeze at the moment. We've got this resistance zone up ahead, which we broke down from at the end of August. But you can see we have a solid floor at this level at about 3.18. So if Bitcoin does make a move from now, considering Bitcoin is pretty low down at the moment, we could see at least a play from here to here. Add a bit of leverage, that'd be a nice little range play of about 35% spot. You could definitely get that up to 100% with 3x leverage. So that's SUI. But nice support here. And the reason, of course, why you want to come in at support with this confluence, because even if Bitcoin does push the market down and you come back down here, because it's such a significant level, sellers need to have that bearish retest to effectively check that the SR flip has happened, support has turned into resistance, and that will typically give you an exit if you've come in flush with support, which of course is what you should be doing, as that gives you many more options as opposed to waiting for SUI to move and then coming in the middle in no man's land. So great place at the moment in terms of risk management and profit potential for SUI. This is W Wormhole. We've since had a golden cross with the 50 and the 200, and we have broken out just about of this lower consolidation range. Now, of course, Bitcoin has pushed Wormhole down a little bit, so we're probably looking for a play coming in flush with the 50 and the 200, which gives you lovely confluence. But as well, this allows you to come in at a very low price point, which is very easy to manage in terms of risk management, as opposed to waiting for W to be all the way up here and then trying to chase it. So the best play at the moment is with Wormhole is either to wait for a stronger breakout of this area and come back for a retest. So a stronger breakout would mean surpassing of this previous swing high and then looking to come in around this area. But honestly, right now, just coming in this little zone for either a short-term play or a mid-time hold would make perfect sense. And this would allow Bitcoin maybe to be a bit more ambiguous over the next few days. So you can have this set up in your back pocket if you think Bitcoin's probably got a little bit more of a retrace, and then come in once Wormhole gives you that opportunity. And that'll be at around 0.87. Next up is ZEC. Now we have this cup and handle pattern of sorts in progress. So there is a larger measured move to be had with breakout entry 2 labeled on my chart, but you'd obviously have to wait for the price action to come all the way back up here for that. And then of course, if you do get a breakout of this level, you want to see a strong move and then come in here on the neckline of the cup and handle. But the handle is still obviously in the process of forming, so we have this lower breakout level which is being broke out of by the price action at the moment, and we have the 200 MA on the 2-day offering support. Let's have a look what the 1-day 200 MA is doing as well, as that might be quite insightful to see if we've got some extra confluence for support. Let's just make it yellow. Here we go. It looks like the 1-day and the 2-day are actually in a bit of a tussle, but that gives us lovely confluence as well for a potential entrant. So you could wait for this breakout move to come up a little bit higher and look to come in on the retest of this area. Now that would be your first play, but if you think Bitcoin is still a little bit hesitant, you could wait, of course, to come in on here with these two 200 MAs nice and flush with each other, which will give you good confluence. There is also a horizontal support line as well with nice confluence with these moving averages. So the safest play would be to come in down here with these two moving averages, which will be about 40, 41. But if you do see volume increasing on this breakout, it does ascend a little bit higher. That will give you a little bit more confidence to come in down here at support, because that gives ZEC a little bit of a retrace to bring more buyers in. But when you just see the price action poke its head very slightly above the breakout level, that can be a little bit risky, because you're going to think how many buyers are going to come in here with quite a meager breakout. So we need to see the strength of this breakout before we decide where we're coming in. But currently, based on the strength of this breakout at the moment, which isn't that great, in the face of a bit of uncertainty with Bitcoin, this area would be ideal to come in with ZEC. Next up, this is Sol, Crypto OG Solana. Now, this setup has been causing a little bit of debate in our private group here at ArcisFX. Some of my fellow traders were looking to enter a long position here at around 210, based on this level historically acting as resistance quite significantly. However, of course, you have to ask yourself, where are the most buyers, where are the most sellers? And the most buyers are, of course, not at 210. They are down here at around 180, because there's a lot more evidence of this level acting as more significant resistance and more significant support. And based on the fact that the price action has broken out with probabilities of this rising channel, you would think that this support area is the next stop. But of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to get a bounce from here. Of course, if Bitcoin makes a strong move, that will happen. But we need to, of course, assess where the most likely place for a bounce is going to be and then chase that, not coming in where the bulls potentially have quite a lot of obstacles ahead of them. Because you imagine if people do look to come in at around 210, we're going to run into resistance here, we're going to run into resistance here. So it's a little bit difficult. And we are very near the top as well of these moves. So it's very important to be patient with these setups. But if I show you this next chart, you'll see there's quite a lot of ambiguity around these patterns for Sol. So this one has a slightly more bullish slant. We have these slightly different channels and now rising, narrowing wedges, of course, but all of these have probabilities of a break to the downside. And even though we could see a bounce here, we do have confluence with the 50. That's quite a lot of lifting for Sol to do at this point. So even though if Bitcoin does make a move, we could, of course, see a move up from here. It's not a play where you've got the probabilities in your favor, and therefore you should skip it and at least wait for this area, which is the next ideal place to come in on for a long trade. So remember, it's not about what will happen, it's about you being able to manage risk and keeping the probabilities in your favor. If you come in at the middle of the range, at the very best, it's a coin toss, but coming down here allows more buyers to come in, which increases the probabilities in your favor of a successful long trade. So I'd say this is the setup for Sol. Wait for the price action to retrace a little bit to around 180 and then look to come in, especially if the 200 MA managed to catch up with the price action to this area. And of course, if we see some divergence. And again, if Sol doesn't do that, then that's not a problem. You haven't lost anything. You've got your capital still and everything's fine. But if you do come in at a slightly inappropriate place, then of course you are risking capital. And that of course is something we want to avoid doing in crypto. It is protect your capital first, look at profit potential second. And if Sol doesn't come down to where you want it to, there'll be plenty of other cryptos which do. Next, this is C98. Now, this was currently in the process of breaking out of this symmetrical triangle pattern with lovely confluence with the 200 MA, but unfortunately, Bitcoin did not play along, and now we are on the bearish side of the triangle, but also sitting nicely at support. So you could wait for C98 to come back down here at around 0.0340, potentially helping forming a reversal pattern at double bottom. But really for me, because we do have a bullish context here, we do just want to wait for another breakout and then try to come back in again on the retest. And if you look at my long play here, you can kind of see the area which we should be coming in on ideally. And I think this setup is still in play despite it moving lower at the moment. That's just Bitcoin doing its thing. So you could wait for a move back into the pattern and you could potentially enter there, but my sort of play would be again just waiting for a slightly higher move out of the triangle and then come back down in flush with the 200 MA and the upper what will hopefully be support line of this triangle. So a bit of patience with C98. It's looking like it wants to break out. We just need Bitcoin to play a long. Bitcoin. Next up, this is Dude, and we have this very solid breakout area which we should be looking to trade off. So if you do get a breakout from here, you want to come back in on the retest, but right now it looks like we're coming back down to test this diagonal support with confluence with the 200 MA on the 8 hour, which actually looks like a really great place to come in to front run that breakout at a lower price point. And at least then, if you do come in here and the price action breaks lower, you're going to get that bearish retest most likely, which will actually, because it's an ascending diagonal line, will come in a little bit higher, potentially give you a little bit of a profit when you look to exit following a bearish move. You still quids in essentially despite the trade going the wrong way. So these are the sort of setups I really like, meaning there's a bit of profit potential even if it goes the opposite direction. But this is a nice area here on this support line to come in for a Dude play. But of course, you just double check what Bitcoin's doing when you look for an entrance. But solid play here with Dude. Just come in here and hope for a bounce, and you can either then trade the range or you can just watch it do this until it breaks out, and then you've come in down here and you've got a really low average price. So that's Dude. SNX is in play right now. SNX has broken out of its resistance range, so we need to be watching for a retest after a confirmed break. We've had the confirmed break. We've even moved up to the second range, which is exactly what I want to see. We've surpassed this previous swing high and now we're coming back down for a retest of this area. So SNX is in play right here and now. Got nice volume as well. Obviously, we'd prefer to have the 200 MA acting as confluence here as well, but the volume, the high volume, and the strength of the move up a couple of ranges gives coming in for a retest here pretty solid, but of course Bitcoin needs to play along. But SNX is in play right here and now with the price action currently retesting the 788 level. But let's just check in with the health of the altcoin market at the moment. Total 3 about a week ago entered index discovery, which essentially means that we're the highest Total 3 has ever been, just above 1.16 trillion in market cap. Now, since then, of course, Bitcoin has had a bit of a retrace, which has forced the market down, but the bullish scenario is still intact, and you should view this as a potential buying opportunity for altcoin longs until, of course, we lose this level. So the next move up could break us properly into price discovery for Total 3, which represents the entire altcoin market minus Ethereum, as Ethereum can skew the data sometimes. If you want to see it with Ethereum included, that's Total 2. But so far, everything's bullish with the altcoin market, a little bit of reset after FOMC, but these should be viewed as buying opportunities until we see some potentially more bearish data points. So this should just be seen as a buying opportunity at present. But word of warning, Bitcoin dominance is back in an uptrend on the intermediate, meaning we have now put in a couple of high highs and a couple of higher lows. A little bit of a correction after such a strong move down is pretty healthy. No big deal here. This is more reflective of the fact that there's a bit of uncertainty with Bitcoin at the moment, so people are waiting to enter their positions. But we are fast approaching resistance, and that is exactly where you want to be to enter an altcoin long, because then the presumption would be that you get a rejection here, and then Bitcoin dominance would continue down from there, which is good fuel for your altcoin longs. But as promised, this is World Liberty Financial, WLFI, USDT Perpetual. Now, we did have a breakout play for this, which again, thanks to Bitcoin, failed unfortunately, but we are now back at the bottom of this range. We've been trading in since the start of September with the floor just below. So if you feel Bitcoin is a little bit bearish at the moment and you're not getting the bullish signals you need, you could wait, of course, for a lower, safer entry at 1605 at the 0% retracement, or you could be looking just to come in here at support, which is again quite a manageable position because, as we keep saying, if of course the price action does get forced down by Bitcoin, it's most likely going to come back up to give you that bearish retest, which gives you an exit. However, if you enter around here, you might not get that. Therefore, it's very important to enter at support, and you might have a little double bottom, of course, forming here at the moment in the price action. So you can wait for a bullish confirmation of a breakout of this level if you're more patient. If you want to look for a range play right here and now of about 20% from here to here, then that's in play right as we are talking. Or if you're a little bit more bearish, then you could have waited to come in here at support. So plenty of opportunities for WLFI. Now, I'm not promoting this token in any way, shape or form, but it's providing a good opportunity, like some of the other tokens we've looked at today, to trade. And therefore, that is why we're looking at it, not because we have any affiliation or any hopes and dreams for the long-term success of this token. It's just providing a good opportunity. And of course, we buy support, we sell resistance, and we're at support right here and now. But just bear in mind that these setups are coins or tokens that are simply providing opportunities to trade based on established TA and are available to trade across a variety of centralized and decentralized exchanges. You can trade them any way you see fit, long or short, for intraday trading or long-term holds. We provide the analysis, but you decide how to trade. And of course, the movement of these assets are very much dependent on the market weather, the money flow, which we've been looking at with Total 3 and Bitcoin dominance, and of course what Bitcoin itself is doing. So to trade these successfully, ensure you subscribe to all of our weekly coverage, and be sure to check out our most recent Bitcoin update video, as that contains all the info you need to trade these setups successfully. But that's it for now. Hope to catch you all tomorrow for my weekly live stream, where you'll be able to ask me questions about the crypto market and ask me to look at specific coins and tokens that you might be thinking of trading, some of which I may not have covered here today. So I hope to see you there. Until then.